When I was younger, I used to believe in a thing called social justice. In fact, I even canvassed door to door on behalf of the NDP. Then, while living in the Garneau area, I met some young women who called themselves feminists. They told me about something called the patriarchy, a socio-political system in which men are universally privileged and women exploited and subjugated for men's express benefit. The patriarchy, they told me, is and always has been the dominant cultural force across the globe. Intrigued, I went in search of this patriarchy. I looked into fundamentalist communities and I heard them speak of men's need to sacrifice for women, to protect and provide for them. I read about countries like Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, and I didn't find it there either. For even in these countries, men bear obligations towards women, and women enjoy protections, entitlements, and exemptions under the law that men do not. Even under the patriarchal codes of Sharia law, a woman may own property and earn income which her husband has no right to touch. I searched the history books for some example of this patriarchy feminists described to me, and I could not find it there. For even in societies where men were indeed dominant, they remained obligated to women, and women again had privileges, protections, and exemptions codified in law. My search for this patriarchy of feminist imagining was in vain. This omnipresent, almost mystical patriarchy feminists told me has existed since the dawn of the agricultural age, a system of oppression where men are universally and uniformly privileged, and women exist only to serve the needs, desires, and whims of their male overlords. A society where women's very identities are based on how well they serve men, so that a woman who does not serve is no woman at all. And so I vowed in that moment, I will create this patriarchy. A patriarchy where no man can be held accountable for the misdeeds of a woman, as he often was in the patriarchies of old. A patriarchy where no domestic violence law can stand in the way of a man's right to beat his wife. And where a woman lifting a hand, indeed her very voice, to her husband will be publicly shamed. A patriarchy where women's bodies are public property and men have an entitlement to be gratified by any unmarried woman they wish. A patriarchy where women owe men their bodies and the sandwiches they produce, while men owe women nothing in return. The patriarchy of feminist imagining. I have a dream. I dream of a day when Alberta stands in solidarity with their persecuted Taliban brothers who remain an economically exploited class through their women's entitlement to shelter, protection, and material support. It will therefore be a major part of my platform to rename Alberta, Albertistan, to offer moral support to our beleaguered brothers in Afghanistan whose women are not fully subordinated. Whose women are less likely to be killed, who serve criminal sentences a quarter as long for the same crimes, and who are entitled to the financial support of their male family members. A patriarchy where it is abuse for a woman to deny a man his needs, indeed, where uttering the word no is a confession of being inadequate as a woman. A patriarchy where a man owns his woman and her labor and her body and the fruits of her body with no reciprocal duty on his part to provide for or protect her. And she in turn knows her place. No more will your sons be subject to censure for flirting or catcalling in my patriarchy, the patriarchy of feminist imagining. When a man catcalls a woman, the proper response of that woman will be compliance to his whim and gratitude for the privilege of his exalted attention. And if it isn't, everyone around her will say, "What's wrong with you? Aren't you a real woman?" This is the patriarchy feminists would have us believe has existed since the day we stood on two legs. It is a patriarchy I vow to make real. A patriarchy where a man may dispose of his wife as he would a slave if she displeases him. A patriarchy where a woman is shunned and punished for speaking out against any man. A patriarchy where the wiener dog is the symbol of ultimate power and virility, and where every building pays homage to that most venerated of shapes, the phallus. This is the patriarchy feminists believe has existed throughout human history, and this is the patriarchy I promise to create for you and your sons. And I know that you agree with these values. I know you agree that men and boys should be put first above women and girls. And you also believe that women should rightly sacrifice their lives, health, and wealth for men. And because you agree with these values, because these are the cores of the patriarchy feminists claim we already live in, I know you will vote Nick Redding. Because a vote for me is a vote for the patriarchy we all know and love. A vote for me proves you truly believe in the virtues of patriarchy. A stronger patriarchy begins with all of us.